Recently, I was in a situation where I was asked to give somebody a few tips on public speaking, and I had just 2 minutes to do it. So it occurred to me that it would be useful to make this video. So if you are also new to public speaking, as the person I was speaking to was, it might just give you some pointers on the things to get focused on. Or if you're like me, further down the line, do quite a bit of speaking, it's just useful to have some reminders, I think. So the first thing I told him to get confident in is to be really know what is the one key message that you want to convey to your audience within your presentation. And that's the same whether it's a 5 minute, 20 minute, 45 minute presentation. There should be one key message that everything else groups around. Because once you're clear on that message, you choose the story or stories that illustrate and support that message, and the rest of the content comes in to back up that key message. Does it support this message? Is it relevant to this message? If not, take it out. It's for another speech. And then once you've planned that content, get confident with it. Really know that content. Get comfortable with it, because nerves often comes through that worry of, will I remember it? Will I fluff up? Will I make a mess? But if you're really confident in the structure and content of what you want to say, those nerves will decrease at least. And within that, it is having a clear opening, know exactly what your opening lines are going to be, and make sure it's an opening that's going to grab people's attention. Similarly, follow the theme throughout and finish with some lines that they are going to remember. Ideally, that brings the whole presentation back in full circle. The next thing I suggested that wherever he was speaking from, whether it was in a big conference room, whether it was round a table in a boardroom, where possible, take a couple of minutes ahead of anybody else or most people coming into the auditorium or to the room, and just get familiar with what it was going to feel like to be looking out at the audience from that stance. Maybe run through your opening line just to get a feel for it. The other thing was to remember to look up and give eye contact with the whole room in whatever way. And the final thing I was able to tell him was to remember to pause. Pause for the audience to laugh, pause for the audience to consider if you're giving them a really quite big point to consider, maybe even repeat that point, but also pause just to process something you've just said. So there we are, 2 minutes of tips. Hope that's been valuable.